What's the first word that comes to mind when you hear today's generations? Confident, fearless, work-life balance. This generation, they've never had to adapt to technology. That's just all they've ever known. Our ability to connect and lead them well starts with a firm understanding. Generations are a clue. They're not a box, they're a clue. They're a clue on how you approach communication, how you approach your leadership, how you approach your branding. Millennials they're not intentionally pissing you off. Millennials they're not tech savvy, they're tech dependent. Millennials, when they approached the web, they were transparent from the get-go. Every unfiltered thought, every life detail was shared online. Not a lot has changed. They expect their leaders to be transparent. They expect their employer to be transparent, and they expect the brands that they buy and interact with to be transparent. If you deny them the technology that they grew up with, that's in their DNA, they will resent you. This generation is the first generation that looks to digital platforms to socialize and to acquire information. What makes today different than any other time is the internet and technology, right? That's the greatest equalizer, and it's changed everything. Technology has created new behaviors and inspired new values that could not have existed prior. The technology with the largest generation on the planet, that's the recipe that creates massive, massive, massive disruption today. Technology's gotten a lot easier since you've been ignoring it. It's true. We're a generation that's had everything at their fingertips. So they want something they can't get from Google, and that's a unique experience. So this is the first time that we see an example of where the millennials, they don't look to parents and they don't look to teachers as the authority. What or who do the millennials look to as the authority? Yeah, the Google, right? The Google, the internet. We're moving from information to infotainment. Content that entertains, sees engagement. And 39% of millennials want to work for companies that reward idea generation and creativity. This generation fundamentally attacks and solves problems different from their elders. So where they go, so goes disruption, right? Social media is a perfect example. It was created by a millennial, it was adopted by millennials, and it went mainstream because of millennials. When it came to social media, cell phones, texting, chat rooms, instant messaging, they were early adopters. They crave technology, they thrive in it. 50% of millennials would prefer to purchase a brand that they know supports a cause. Blogging is solid leadership in a new era. 50% of all bloggers are millennials. And 2000 also was an important date for all of us, all Americans. And 2007 was the first time that we sent and received more text messages than phone calls. Millennials are contributors. The internet has given them a voice from day one, and they've used it. And now they pull that same expectation in the workplace, right? They want to share, they want to contribute, they want to have an impact, they want to be heard. Mirror their quest for doing good. It's not about the tools, social media is about the reach. Millennials are heavily, heavily peer persuaded. The AOLs of the next generation are the Vine and Snapchat. So how is that going to change consumer behavior moving forward? Their background, their upbringing, it's high tech and it's hyper social. And so they bring all of this to the workplace. Millennials don't want to interact with brands that are soulless. As leaders, we've got to get really good at communicating the why. The communication options and channels that we now use are more abundant than ever before, and yet the expectations for response time are shorter and have decreased. And millennials want to be active consumers, right? Passive is so 2008. A lot of times what we're experiencing is Google's the first handshake now. And isn't it interesting, in an always-on and hyper-connected world, we're having a hard time connecting. Connections is a prerequisite for influence. A lot of you think that face-to-face communication is archaic because you can flick your fingers and communicate to the world instantly. Millennials text, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, basically anything that has nothing to do with face-to-face communication, right? They're just going to flee from those situations. Millennials miss out on so many promotions and opportunities because they lack face-to-face communication. If you want to connect with a certain generation, you got to understand which communication channel they prefer and connect with them in that form. If you really want to aggravate a millennial, pick up the phone, call them. They won't answer. It's fine, you know that. Okay, ready? And then, so you call them, and then this is where it really gets interesting. Leave them a voicemail. The brands that are going to win tomorrow, the leaders that are going to win tomorrow are those that achieve agility. Agility in your mindset, agility in your skill sets. Effective next generation leaders are going to be those that can lead effectively across generations, across cultures, across time zones, and now across cyberspace. Millennials are just the benchmark, and they're just the warning sign for all of the future change that's ahead of us. All of us in this room, all the thought leaders, I think we're all grossly underestimating how much change is ahead of us. And I think we can all appreciate too that change is no respecter of person, right? It's coming with or without us. AOL is to blame for everything. That's it. That's all you need to know.